What famous place is not worth visiting? Me, an Egyptian. Ah shit, here we go again. Times Square on New Year's Eve. Just forget it. It has never been worth it. In 3rd grade a meteor crashed in the backyard of a kid's house in my neighborhood. He talked about it every day at school and said people weren't allowed to see because NASA was collecting samples. A few days later he said we could go see but everyone had to pay $5. Me and a few friends paid him and went over his house later that day. When we got to the backyard we saw approximately 3-foot deep hole that was clearly dug by a shovel. We called him out on it and he said something like, "That's where it landed but the scientists dug around it with shovels to take samples. Worst $5 I've ever spent. I have no idea where you are nowadays but fuck you, Benji." Hollywood Walk of Fame. It's a sidewalk and outside of maybe big events where they may clean the ones around where photos may be taken. It otherwise is just covered in dirt from people's shoes and some are barely legible because they haven't been cleaned in ages. Plymouth Rock in Plymouth, MA. It's literally just a small rock. Hollywood Walk of Fame. Dirty ass street with cheap shops and homeless everywhere. Only nice spot was near the theater. I work close to Times Square in Manhattan. If you have an ad blocker on your computer, you will hate Times Square. Niagara Falls is a really cool site but it's not worth a trip if you're staying on the American side. The Canadian side is way better and has more things to do. Land's End, UK. Heralded as the 4th most disappointing attraction in the UK. It's not even disappointing enough to win an award at it. I mean the landmark in Cornwall, not a clothing store. Dearie me. You can see Mount Rushmore perfectly fine from the road. No need to pay to see it. Egypt. It's like if phone scams were a materialized location. You get there and right away the airport is going to start scamming you, take your electronics away and tell you that you need permits for them, which they will gladly sell you, and then tell you that it's the wrong one and have you buy another one. The hotel you stay at will check your bags again like the airport did and again tell you that you need permits or whatever random thing they decide they can get away telling you needs one. The police will extort money from you if they think they can. Fake police will come up to you and fine you or tell you to follow them to different sites where they will charge you. Children will run up to you and ask if you want to ride their camel very aggressively. They will cut you off with their camel and not let you move forward. Tell you it's free. And then try to charge you insane amounts of money and call their camel pimp over to deal with you if you don't pay. If you don't get on the camel they will often even get the camel to attack you. It's all pretty wild, it's not worth it. Reading a lot of frustration about Egypt here but learning about the existence of camel pimps really takes this up a notch. Egypt. They treat tourists like garbage. While the Louvre is amazing and can consume entire days of walking, don't bother fighting the crowds to see the Mona Lisa. It's tiny and has a crowd of tourists dozens deep all taking pictures. No flash photography, be damned, so all you see is flash reflecting off the protective glass. Also, rumor has it that the real Mona Lisa is in a basement and that the one you see is just a very convincing replica. According to this thread, never go to Egypt, Hollywood and Dubai. Noted. Plymouth Rock. I don't know how famous it really is outside of New England but it's a rock that marks where the Pilgrims supposedly first landed in Massachusetts. It is quite literally just a medium-sized rock with 1620 carved in it but every elementary school teacher around Massachusetts at least hypes it up for the class field trip to see a literal rock that is not big, impressive, or really historically relevant. Driving an hour on a bus to see this was the most anticlimactic thing and I would not particularly recommend. Plymouth Rock, Massachusetts. Despite all the rage it's still just a rock in a cage.